Hey, what's up everybody? It's the Hyphenate here, and today we're going to talk about an incredible app for Sony Alpha Cameras. This app will allow you to use an Apple device or an Android device to monitor your Sony Alpha Cameras, as well as use it as a remote control. So you can monitor and control it at the same time. So actually, right now, what you're watching is a screen recording of my phone, which is currently my monitor. I have it right here. It's monitoring what I'm actually filming, and I can also control it all touchscreen. I can change my settings, I can add zebras or guides, all kinds of different things. We're gonna go over all of that, but it's a must-have for Sony Alpha Cameras. So the app is called Monitor Plus, and it's available on Apple and Android. Now here on the website, there are links to actually go to the App Store for Apple or download for Android. Now it's not on the Android Google Play Store. You actually have to download it for Android here on the website. And I do have links in the description. So for Android, you click on the download button, then when it finishes downloading, you click on it and then install it, and then it'll install the app directly into your device. Now this video is not going to be an in-depth tutorial using every single feature front to back. I do have on this channel various individual tutorial videos. So I have a tutorial video using the app for touch tracking, another video on actually how to connect to Sony Alpha Cameras, etc. So again, this video is going to be an overview of the app, and I'm going to go over some of the functions. But if you want individual tutorials on this app, I do have videos on the channel. And if I don't have one for what you're looking for, comment and let me know what kind of tutorial you want to see me make. All right, so I am screen recording my phone. So you guys are gonna see me looking down. It's because I'm looking at my phone, which is operating the app as we speak. And you'll see that there is a record box, a little red line across the border of the frame, just like there is on the Sony a7S III or the Sony FX3. Certain new cameras have that. So you'll see it here. You also see the record button in the middle that right now has a red square that's letting you know that if you click on it, it'll stop recording. And then you also do see in the middle, right now above my head, you see a little timer letting you know how long it's been recording. Now at the bottom where the record button is to start and stop, you also see two memory cards. You can see 1 and 2, and they show you how much is left on each memory card. So if you have a camera that has dual memory card slots like my a7S III, that lets you know exactly how much time you have left. Now really quick, I also want to mention that there is a paid upgrade that gives you more functionality. And that's for less than 20 bucks. You actually get the Pro version, which will give you a license key once you purchase it. Through the App Store, you can actually do the upgrade directly from the App Store on Apple devices. For Android, you actually need to pay for that through the website. Then you'll get a license key, and then you'll be able to activate it here. So if we click on the little options button on the top left, if we go to Monitor Plus Pro, here it already says that you can enjoy using all the features provided, because I already have enabled. But if it wasn't, then you can click here and you can actually sign in. It's going to do a little key code to your phone, and then you just put in your email, you put in the actual activation code that you'll get from an email once you make the purchase, and then you'll have the Pro version available. Again, I have the Pro version. I highly recommend getting the Pro version. Again, it's less than $20 US, and on the Apple Store, you can actually do the upgrade directly through there, through your device. For Android, you need to make the purchase on the actual website. Link in the description. All right, now we're gonna go to the other options. Let's go to the top left, and we'll go on the little options button, click on that. Here you see various functions that you can turn on or off or change different options. Let's start off with volume key record. Having that on will actually have your volume keys on your device. So if you move your volume up or down, will start or stop recording of your camera. Then histogram style, we have Luma, RGB, red, green, blue. I leave it at Luma. Record live view feeds, I have that off. Tap function, you can go between AF area and camera touch. This is extremely awesome, and we'll touch more on that in a bit, but for now, I'll leave it at AF area. Horizontal is if you want to flip your image and mirror it. This is pretty much like if you're recording yourself and you have the flip screen or the tilt screen pointed at you, you normally will get the mirror effect. So if we turn that on, now we'll go back, you can see here that everything is in reverse, but my left is the left that I'm looking at now on the screen, the right is the right on the screen. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go back and turn that off. Then signal range, leave that as is, 0 to 255. Then we have next media file name. The cool thing here is you can actually change the file name that you wanna have your video files being recorded as. Then you can change the language. Then camera picture profile, so you can actually cycle between the picture profiles that are built into the cameras. Then we have touch function. You can also change between tracking, off, or focus. Personally, I always have tracking on. Then live image quality, you can change from low resolution, which is 640 by 360, or high, 1024 by 576. I always use live view image quality high. Now it's very important to know that the Sony Alpha cameras connect to apps using Wi-Fi. So using the Sony Imaging app or the Monitor Plus app, it's gonna turn on the Wi-Fi. Now your Sony Alpha cameras can change between the frequency bands that you want for your Wi-Fi. You can go either 2.4G or 5G. 5G is the preferred. Now you do not get a very long distance. You can't be very far away from your camera if you're in 5G, but it allows for a lot faster data transfer rate. So if you're closer to your camera, use 5G all the time because everything's gonna move faster. Not only all the response times from changing settings, but also the live view feed. If you have the 2.4G, then you can go further, but there is a little bit more of a lag. If you're using 2.4G and you're kind of further away from your camera, then maybe you want to use the image quality at low, but if you're on 5G and you're close to your camera, definitely go to high. Now we're gonna go back. Now next to the options button on the top left, you'll see FPS 24. Now if you click on that, on the bottom, you'll see options to change the frame rate, the codec, format, etc. Now next to that is shutter. Here you can choose your shutter speed. I'm shooting 24 frames per second, so of course I'm gonna stay with 1/50th. Then for iris, you can change your aperture. Then ISO, here you can see, I'm gonna change it just so you can see. I'm gonna change the ISO, and then I'm gonna go back up to what I had it at, which was 500. Then next to that, we have the white balance that you can change. Then next to that, we have focus. We can change from AFC to manual focus. Now, if you actually click on manual focus, you're actually able to pull focus here through the app, and I'll touch on that in a bit. Then on the top right, we have focus area. If we click on that, we can change the focus area here, and actually being able to change between flexible spot, small, medium, or large is actually easier here than it is on the camera because here you have all three options. You can just click on one. So we're gonna click on flexible spot large, and then here you'll see that I have a little red box, and I can easily just click and drag that box wherever I want. So let's say I wanna move it here to the poster. Bang, now I'm completely out of focus. Just click and drag here on the app, and now I can move it. Now back on me. Awesome thing with this is that you can easily do focus pulls by clicking here. Now, you can do focus pulls by touching the screen on the camera. However, you do risk moving your camera a little bit. You do risk getting some camera shake. So here, by doing it wirelessly through the app, you're easily able to pull focus, not only if the camera's on a tripod, but if it's on a gimbal, if it's on a slider, if it's on some type of motion control system, you're easily able to do it here. So we're gonna go to the poster. I'm gonna click on that, and now you'll see, went there. Now we're gonna go to my face, and now we're coming back to my face. There you go, simple. Now, in order to be able to move the focus area, you have to make sure that you are in your options, and we go to tap function, and you have AF area selected. Personally, I very rarely do focusing in that way. I normally do touch tracking, which is an awesome feature. If you guys don't know how to enable touch tracking on your Sony Alpha cameras, I do have a tutorial on that video, a link in the description. But essentially, you're able to touch on your screen, and it'll click on an object, put a little white box around them, and it'll follow them anywhere in the frame. So if they move around, they turn around, etc., it keeps them locked on. So if they move around, there are a bunch of people. Touch tracking is one of my favorite features to use, period. Especially if I'm doing music videos or weddings, things like that, where a bunch of other people are in the shot. So I like to use touch tracking even on here. It's probably one of the best features. So if I change tap function to cameras touch, now it doesn't matter what focus area you have. Right now we still have that flexible spot large. Doesn't matter if we're in wide, zone, etc. Once you do touch tracking, no matter what focus area mode you're in, it's going to go to touch tracking. So if I go ahead and click on, let's say, the poster to my left, I'm going to click on that. And then you'll see here, it says cancel tracking. That means it's currently tracking something right now. Now, the only thing that's not great about this app right here with the touch tracking is that you don't see the little white box letting you know that it's tracking the object. Like, you don't see what it's following. Again, I know I'm out of focus right now, so let's go ahead and click on my face. And now I'm the object that it's tracking. If I move around anywhere in the frame, even if I was in a flexible spot small, touch tracking is now gonna follow me. I'm the object. On a gimbal, have this be my monitor, and I can easily tap on what I wanted to track without having to tap the camera. I don't have to introduce any camera shake. Another awesome way that I use this is in a motion control system. So I have the Edochrome system, which has a slider and a pan and tilt module. So I'm able to move things around, and if I wanted to go from one object to another, I can just tap it here and it'll follow that subject. If you have one of the other modes, like the focus modes, and you touch to that, if it's moving, then if that focus area that you've selected goes out of the object that you want to keep tracking, then it's going to end up going to focus on whatever's in that box. But with touch tracking, I can always tap on an object and make sure that that is being in focus, even if the camera is moving and it moves around in the frame. That alone makes this one of the most incredible tools, period, for a Sony Alpha camera. All right, now we're going to click on the screen to cancel tracking. And now I'm going to change my focus area back to wide. Now here on the bottom left, we see our histogram. Then again, we've already gone through the middle of the record and the memory cards. Now on the right of the memory card status, you'll see a bunch of grayed out options here. Now you can click on one of those and it'll turn on or off one of those options. And we're gonna go over all of those right now. If we go all the way to the right, you will see an options button. Now that's gonna show you what all these different little buttons are. So we have zebra, false color, guide, peaking, waveform, LUT, inspector, de-squeeze, focus puller, chroma key, overlay, locker, and then you can reorder them as you'd like. So again, we're gonna click out of that. Now I'm gonna show you here again. The first one is zebras. If I click on that, it puts a little yellow box around it, letting you know that it's active. Now, instead of going left to right here on the bottom, I'm actually gonna go into the little options button and we're gonna look at it from here. Now, again, if I click on zebra, it's gonna turn it off. Click on it again, turn it on. You know it's on when it has a little yellow box around the icon. Now, if I actually end up clicking the little checkbox, the yellow checkbox, this will actually take it out of the menu option. So if I click it here, here on the bottom, you'll see that the zebras are gone. You actually can't access it from here. So if you wanna be able to access it down there, click on the little checkbox and turn zebra back on. So now it's at the bottom as an option again. So if any of these down here are not options that you actually wanna ever mess with, you can just uncheck them and so they won't even show up down here. But let's go back down the list. So options button here. So zebra, then false color. If you click on that, it would change to false color. Again, you can change the options for that. You can change smoothing, etc. Guide. Again, this is something that I like to have on. I like to actually have the grid and I like the center cross. You can also choose safe zones, etc. You can also choose the scale, opacity, etc. Aspect ratio. Now we're going to go into peaking. This will help you know what's in focus. You can change the color, intensity, grayscale, etc. Personally, the intensity at 3, I think, is my preferred option. Now we're gonna go back, turn that off. Waveform, here you can actually see the waveforms. Again, you can change options for all that. A LUT, here you can actually install your own LUTs, which is actually really awesome. Or it does have a LUT for S-Log2 and S-Log3. With Inspector, this actually fills up your entire screen with pretty much histogram, parade, all types of tools that are great for analyzing your color, your lighting, etc. Now we're going to turn off the inspector. Now de-squeeze is if you have an anamorphic lens and you want to de-squeeze it. Now obviously right now it looks really weird because I'm not using an anamorphic lens. Focus puller, now this is where you're actually able to pull focus if you're in manual focus mode. So we're going to go to the autofocus and we're going to change that to MF for manual focus. Now we're gonna go ahead and click on the focus puller, direct control on or off. Let me show you really quick. Direct control is something that I actually don't really like. If you click on that, you can see here that you can actually change your focus pulling with these little arrows. I'm not really a fan of these little arrows. It does change the amount of values. You can see 58, now we can see 41, 34, etc. So you can kind of move by different intensities. If you take off direct, so here you can manually focus. You can focus pull directly here on the app, which is awesome. So I think I'm somewhere around the 85. I'm pretty sharp there. But again, I prefer autofocusing. I'm not really a big fan of manual focus. These Sony cameras are incredible with autofocus. So I'm gonna actually get out of that. I'm gonna turn off the focus pull and we're gonna change back to AFC. And then now we're back to autofocus. Let's go back to the options. All right, we have Chroma Keyer. Now this is if you actually want to try to chroma key something off here on your actual phone, on your device. I don't ever use this, to be honest, but it's a cool little feature. Overlay, if you want to put overlays on, you can do that as well. Pretty cool feature as well, but not something I ever really use. And then locker, if you actually use that, you can actually choose where you want the locker to be, either on the left or the right. We're gonna leave it at left, and you'll see right now what it looks like when I turn it on. So I'm gonna click on it, and now there's a little lock feature here. If I click on the lock and slide it down, now you'll see that it's locked. Here, if I click on anything, whether it's shutter, frames per second, even the start and stop record, it's not gonna let me click on it. So if you're worried about accidentally clicking something on your phone when you're recording and everything is the way you want it to be, then you can turn on this locker so that way you don't accidentally stop, start, change a setting, change focus, etc. And if you wanna go back into being able to mess with the stuff, then just go ahead and unlock it. And then now everything can be adjusted. Then again, if you wanna take that off, just click on the bottom icons. These will turn on or off all the little functions and features. Now, I was recently thinking about getting a transmission device for a gimbal, which allows you to have a wireless monitor. So that way I could have a bigger screen than what's on my camera and not have to deal with cables, because I really hate cables connected to monitors when you're on a gimbal. It's cumbersome, it's a drag, it throws off the balance a little bit. I'm not a fan. So I was thinking about getting a wireless transmission system for a gimbal, but now with this app, because it's a monitor and control system, I'm actually able to have my phone as my monitor on a gimbal wirelessly, and I have way more functions here than I would with any transmission device, especially with that touch tracking or tap to focus. Whether you're using it on a gimbal, on a motion control system, or even just here on YouTube, now I can easily just sit here, press record, boom, ready to go. Now really quick, I wanna show you guys how little the lag is when you're in 5G. Look at that. Such a small delay. This is amazing. It's extremely usable, again, for sliders, gimbals, pretty much any other option that you would use. So long as it's not sports, this is gonna work extremely well in almost every video scenario. Now here, as you can see on this screen, I have a bunch of stuff on the top and I have a bunch of stuff on the bottom. If you actually wanna get rid of that and just go into full screen mode, all you gotta do is swipe up from the center, up, and it goes away. Or swipe back down from the top, and the info comes back on. You can also do that on the bottom, so you can swipe down from the center, down, or swipe up from the bottom. So that's the Monitor Plus app made for Sony Alpha Cameras that's designed to be used for video. I highly recommend getting this app, and I highly recommend getting the Pro version. So spend that extra $20 US or so and get the Pro version. It's a game changer. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to drop a like on this video, drop a comment below if you have any other questions, and please make sure to subscribe. I have a lot more videos coming soon. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.